Hello friends, welcome to DelPro Farm Manager tutorial. Today we are going to discuss the importance of users in DelPro software. We need to understand why do we need users, what type of different users are available in the software, and how to create the users, how to edit the users. In software, if we click on Farm, we have the option Users. Let us open this option. When we click on users, we will find a couple of users are already registered in the software. So those users are by default in DelPro software. You will notice that after installing DelPro software, when we open the software for the first time, a user login window pops up and by default there is user 1. So user 1 is by default there and unknown breeder is another user by default in the software. And now, let me explain why do we need more users in the software. Whenever we add an event in the software, let us say we are adding an event of a new cow or calving or insemination, etc., or a treatment, etc., in the system, then software should know that who is adding that event, and later on we can check who added the event. Now this is about the data entry. Secondly, in the farm we have different people for whom we need to track their performance. For example, inseminators. Let us say we have 3 or 4 different inseminators in the farm, and when we add an event of insemination, software will ask us for the name of breeder as well. And after some time, when we need to compare the performance of all the breeders in one screen, then software will give us the required reports with the comparison of the performance of all the breeders in one screenshot. So this is one example. Why do we need different types of users in the software? So quickly, I will tell you how to create a new user. So we click on farm and then users, and then we click on new. Under new, we have 4 options. The first option is user. This option is used for the data entry operators or the people who need only data, but they don't interact directly with the animals. Let us click on the, the user option. By mistake, I clicked on breeder, so I'm closing it. So I click on new and then I click user. I need to enter the username. Let us say it's person 1. I'm just taking a hypothetical name, and this user is active, so there is a check mark. Now, optional information I can fill in here, like the complete name of the user. For example, it's me, Gurpreet Singh, and then if there is any person ID in the farm, let us say it's P1, and another contact information can be added like email address, my phone number, mobile number, and even my photograph. All these things are optional, which can be added by creating the user. So once I enter the name of the user person 1, I save it. We can see this user is created here. You will see what is the name of user person 1. Now this name will appear when we log in DelPro. When we open software, in the list of users, this username will appear, and it is active. So this is how we create a user. Now let me quickly show you. We will create a breeder as well. What is the username? I'm giving it a name like breeder1. Again, a hypothetical name. Is it a default breeder? Put a check mark if this person does most of the inseminations in the farm. If I select this option and next time whenever I add an event of insemination, by default this name will appear. And if the insemination is not done by this breeder, by selecting the drop down option, I can change it to a different breeder in the event of insemination. So I can create the breeder by just saving it. So we have another breeder. You can see it's breeder 1. The person type is breeder. Next one is milker. I'm giving it again hypothetical name milker 1, and this is active. So why do we need a username for a milker? Oh, milker ID is mandatory. So I give it ID like 1. Save. Sometimes in the parlor, the cow data or the cow milking data is not recorded properly. Then milker can update the data manually in the software. Then he will log in using this user ID and his password, and system will keep the record that who edited or who entered the milking data, who was the milker that entered the milking data. So that is why we need a milker ID as well. And very important, wet. I give it a name wet1. He is active and I save and close. So we have a wet user ID as well. Wet user is required for the events of treatments, vaccinations, pregnancy check, etc. Even if we plan some vet visits, then system will ask you who is the vet and what will he do, what will he check in the farm. So we need vet ID also in the software. The important thing here is if we have 5 different breeders, we have to create 5 different users for all the breeders. I mean, each breeder will have his or her individual user ID. Similarly, if we have multiple vet in the farm, then each vet will have his or her own user ID. So whenever we do a data entry, we should log in using our own user ID. And if we are working as a data entry operator only, then if I'm adding an event of insemination, I should be careful while selecting the name of the breeder. If I'm adding an event of treatment, I should be careful by selecting the correct name of vet for the treatment entry or the vaccination entry. I will give you another example now what the change is done by adding software. I have closed DelPro. Now I will open DelPro once again, and all these new user IDs I should be able to see in the list of users. Most of the time we will see the user ID of users and vets. Let me show you. So by default, it will show me the username which was used previously to open the software. And I have vet1, I have milker1, I have person1. The only entry which did not reflect here is the breeder one, because to log in the software, breeder entry is not required. It should be either vet, it should be either milker, it should be either data entry operator or the farm owner. So this is how the software is designed. So I select my previous ID and I log on. I have to enter the correct password. So I enter my password. Now I will tell you how can we change the password of a user ID. To change the password of a user ID, we have to first log in through that user ID. Only then we can change. Like right now, I have entered in the software using the ID HNadmin. So I can change the password only for this user. If I need to change the password for vet1, then I have to exit software. I have to log in using vet1 username, and then I can change the password of vet1. See, right now I have login using HNadmin. So I double click here. I get the option change my password. But if I try to change the password of vet1 without opening the software using this ID, then it will not give me the option to change password. See, that option is not available. That will come only for the user which is used to open the software. Like in this case, it is HN Here I get the option change my password. So if I click here, I need to enter my old password and then I need to enter the new password 2 times. I click OK and I'm done. Right? So I hope this video was good enough to explain why do we need different users and how to create the users. Now if I need to edit any user, I just again go to farm and users. I double click the user which I need to edit. Suppose I want to change the username, I can edit it here, like from bidder1 to bidder2, and I click on save. So it is edited. Well, in upcoming videos, I will explain few more things which we need to do before entering any animal in the software. Till then, please keep using DelPro software and feel free to reach me if you have any query. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care, bye bye.